This week, we've got fresh announcements from Stinger with their brand new Horizon 12. Viper introducing a revamp of their entire product lineup. Wet Sounds with a new edition of their popular Rev series tower speakers. Hifonics with a shallow sub solution. And Cerwin Vega reinventing the legendary Vega line of speakers. This is CMA Live All Access brought to you by SiriusXM and sponsored by 5 Axis Innovations. And it starts now. Now, not so long ago, when Stinger released their brand new Horizon platform in the 10-inch, it made a lot of waves. Well, they're back at it again, but upsized to a 12. Yes, we're talking about the Stinger Horizon 12 unit today, and we've got their product expert, Matt Palumbo, joining us now. Matt, obviously, this was kind of expected. I'm not going to lie. 12-inch is a big deal, but not only is it a big deal in size, there's a ton of features. So what can you tell us overall about the introduction of the Horizon 12?
Yeah, Ben, we're super excited about the Horizon 12. I mean, as you said, a lot of people are probably expecting us to bring out a larger screen version of the Horizon 10. And the Horizon 10 was great. It fits in lots of vehicles, but the 12 really takes things to the next level. Obviously, having that big screen is awesome. But this is not just another big screen radio. There is a ton of audio performance features. There's some really cool apps and things built in, and it just works and fits in more vehicles. And it works differently than just about any other big screen radio on the market.
Well, on today's show, Matt, we're going to dive into some of the top features that the Horizon 12 offers. And we're going to start with the fact that at its core, it's very different from many of the radios out there in the sense that these platforms that Stinger has come up with, as far as radios are concerned, are in fact modular. Many people don't understand why that may be.
Yeah, Ben, modular allows us to fit in more vehicles and allows us to be easier to install in a lot of custom applications. Unlike most traditional large screen radios where you have a radio chassis and a big old screen attached to it, we don't have that. We can mount that way if you need to, if it's a traditional application. But in most cases, especially in these newer vehicles where there's not a lot of room in the dash, it's great to have a radio chassis and a screen that are totally separate and now only connected with one cable.
No doubt, Matt, having a modular type radio opens up a tremendous amount of opportunities, especially when it comes to the different vehicles that this unit can get into. Now, that leads me kind of to our next key feature. Now, you kind of mentioned in the beginning, but this screen, the Horizon 12 in particular, is a giant screen, but it can do different tricks, can it?
Yeah, it sure can, Ben. I mean, the cool thing with the Horizon 12 is it can be mounted horizontally or vertically. So in some vehicles, having a vertical screen just makes more sense, especially if you're doing like a custom center console or something like that, maybe in a classic vehicle or a vehicle where there's no dash kits available for it. Also, in a lot of the newer Jeeps and off-road vehicles, that horizontal orientation makes perfect sense because it almost fits the dash perfectly and takes up all the usable real estate.
Now, as this is a CMA Live, we want to make sure you get the key points that really make these products stand out. So we're not, unfortunately, can't dive into all the features, but I've got a couple more here that I think you're going to find really interesting. Starting with widgets. Now, every big screen, for lack of more detail, has had some type of GUI with widgets, but this new Horizon 12 takes widgets to a whole new level.
Yeah, Ben, it really does. I mean, with the Horizon series of radios, like I said, the 10-inch unit was great. It's got lots of cool features. The 12 shares a lot of those features, but the widgets are unique because you have that bigger screen with more real estate. We have space to do a widgets bar. So in that widgets bar, we can do things that are commonly used, like subwoofer level control or lighting control, accessory control, things like that.
I want to take a moment and give a high five to the engineering team at Stinger for always being at the cutting edge when it comes to the GUI and the interface for the customer. No different here with this new widgets bar. Okay, another element that's kind of made the Stinger source units really a big item and a fan favorite when it comes to audio enthusiasts is the audio performance. So, Matt, what can you tell us about some of the key audio performance features that these new Horizon 12 units have to offer?
Yeah, Ben, with the Horizon series of head units, I mean, this is really what Stinger is all about these days is high performance audio. We started out as an accessories company, now with audio control on board and pack doing interfacing, like we are all about high quality audio, and the Horizon series of head units is no exception. So with the Horizon 12, not only do you have 8 channels of RCA output, so not just your typical front rear sub, but you have a front one, front two, and rear plus sub. So you actually can do a bandpass filter on that front two, do an active setup even without a DSP. In fact, these Horizon units even have a basic DSP built in. We use an AKM DSP chipset, so it's high quality audio. And on those 8 channels of RCA outputs, you actually get 4.5 volts of output. So it's a nice, hot, clean signal. And some of my favorite parts are that if you are using a DSP, we not only have a volume variable toslink optical output, we also have DM Smart DSP control built inside. So instead of having to use a laptop or tablet to set up your audio controlled DSP or DSP amplifier, you can do all of it right from the head unit. You do not need a laptop, don't need a tablet. It's not a watered down version of the software, it's the full software native right on the head unit. It is incredibly cool and it's an industry first.
Wow, let's take a second to take that in, Matt. That's a lot to digest right there. So you're telling me DSP controls check, variable volume toslink optical out check, and now you can control an audio controlled DSP straight from your source unit with a full interface, and not just like a watered down diode version, but the entire selection of menu and options from the DSP control. That is incredible. You know what this is sounding like? This is sounding a little bit like a central hub of sorts.
Yeah, Ben, that's exactly what these Horizon head units are, especially the IX212. I mean, the Horizon 12 unit really is the central hub of most of these vehicles. If you look at a brand new car, and most of them have a big screen in the dash, it doesn't just play the radio and show your backup camera. It's kind of your everything, right? Like all of your vehicle information, lighting control, a lot of that stuff happens on that screen. And we want to offer that same thing to those looking for an aftermarket source unit. So with a Horizon 12, you can do all of that. Not only do you have all the cool audio stuff we talked about, controlling your DSP, having a high quality audio output, we also have RGB LED control built in. So if you're using Race Sport Color Trail or Stinger Enlighten RGB LEDs, you can do all the control right from the source unit directly, not wirelessly. So it is super reliable. You also have the ability to control up to 4 external accessories. So heated seats, a winch, any sort of light bars, whatever accessories you've got, you can control those right from the unit as well. And then add in the fact that we have 4 camera inputs with built-in switching, and they actually do a high quality signal. They do AHD, which is analog HD input. So you've got the best quality cameras, up to 4 of them, no external switcher needed, plus the accessory control, plus the audio control, plus the cool interface, wireless CarPlay and Android Auto, like you name it, these units can do it. HDMI input, I mean, there's not much that they don't have.
Gosh, 10 minutes, Matt, is simply not enough to really dive into the feature packed list that this new Stinger 12 does. But, in the interest of those installers that are tuning in, what about integration into factory systems? What tools are there? How do we do it? And what is the application list really when it comes to where this radio can fit?
Yeah, I think that's actually one of my favorite things about these Horizon radios is that, although it's a 12-inch screen and it is big, it's not going to be for everybody or every vehicle, of course. But that's one of the coolest things about it, I think, is that it can be used in just about anything. If you can fit a single DIN, you can probably fit a Horizon 12. If you've got space for a double DIN, again, we provide the mounting hardware to make that happen. But if you're one of the lucky ones, you have a vehicle that PAC offers an integration kit for. So we have 2 series of integration kits, the SR and SRK series. You just go to pac-audio.com, look up your vehicle. And if we offer a kit that starts with SR, that's going to be all the plastics and integration modules to make it work, make it function, retain steering wheel controls and backup cameras, things like that. And it's going to be awesome. If you have a vehicle that we have an SRK kit for, that means you're going to get one step above, where now you're going to have vehicle information, drivetrain info, check engine lights, door open, performance gauges, all of that cool integrated info. Basically everything we can drag out of the vehicle's data bus network, we're able to display and manipulate on the screen. And it just makes it that much more of a fully integrated experience. It's super, super cool. But again, these can also be used as universal and put into just about anything.
Well, there you have it, guys. Matt Palumbo from Stinger talking to us about the brand new Horizon 12. So many different features we covered. Its modular structure, the orientation flexibility. We talked about the new widgets. We talked about the audio settings and audio performance, how it can act as a central hub, and even how it can integrate into so many different applications. Wrap it up for us, Matt. When is this unit available, and where should folks go to get more info?
Yeah, Ben, these Horizon radios are available now. Both the 10 and 12 inch are shipping. They're already getting out into the hands of some very excited dealers and enthusiasts. In fact, I've got a Horizon in my vehicle as well. So, for more information on any of the Horizon radios or any of the products or brands from Stinger, check out stingersolutions.com. If you are looking to purchase in Canada, you're going to want to look at Gemsen or Automobility.
Are you looking for an audio display for your car audio shop? Look no further than 5-Axis. We specialize in audio displays, motorcycle displays, power sports displays, UTV displays. All our displays are custom designed to tailor with your needs. We go anywhere from custom graphics to custom LED panels with fabric posters right above. Visit us on 5AxisInnovations.com or check us out on Facebook or Instagram at 5-Axis Innovations. Or give us a call at 414-326-7162. Look forward to hearing from you.
Now, in the world of vehicle security, Viper is, of course, one of the long-standing brands that everybody knows and recognize. And for a while now, we've been hearing whisperings that there's a whole new energy going behind the brand to reimagine the entire lineup. Well, today on CMA Live, we've got their Director of Product Operations, Chris Lombardi, joining us to give us the scoop on this entire new line of product coming to you from Viper. Now, Chris, welcome to the show. This is a big one because there's a lot of components here. We're going to break it down for the folks listening, but was it time to finally put this type of resource and energy into the Viper brand?
Yeah, Ben, thanks for having me and great introduction. You are absolutely correct. This is such an exciting time for the Viper product line. We've been working on this for going on a few years now. And yeah, the investment is obviously there for us. We know that this is a staple in the vehicle security product group. We absolutely love the Viper brand, and we want to lift it to where we know it belongs. We've made so many different changes to this, and we know all of our dealers and consumers alike are all awaiting this change.
Now, Chris, we're going to get in a little bit into the woods here because when we're talking about a change, we're not just talking about a little skin lift or a reboxing, are we? We're talking about a whole new line of product. So let's start with the core, and we're talking about the brains themselves because we know this is kind of like the center of the operation, right? So are we talking about a brand newly developed brain for all the new systems for Viper?
Yeah, Ben, the brain or the control module is really what is doing all the heavy lifting for these systems. From the consumer's perspective, right, they see a transmitter, remote control, and they really think, hey, this is what is controlling my system, and it is. But all the heavy lifting again comes from that main module. And yeah, these are new designs, these are new boards, these are new cases. We made a lot of small changes to the brains to better the efficiency of the installer, to the look and feel of it, really update them. Some easy examples of something like that would be like on some of our security modules, changing parking light polarity and so forth. Sometimes that was hard to switch between those two different things. You'd have to take the module completely apart. We know that that's not beneficial for that installer installing that product. We remove that, put it to the outside of the module, just to make sure we're really getting back to our roots of the for installer, by installer mentality.
Now, Chris, I have to admit, when I hear there's new technology and there's new hardware coming out, one side of me is I'm super, excited. There is this little back voice in the back of my head saying, whoa, hold on a second. What about all the accessories and wiring that go with that? How is this going to change my process?
Yeah, Ben, we know that people are very familiar with our products, installers especially that have been installing these products for years. One of the things that we were really, really focused to and dedicated on was making sure that there wasn't any concerns about, backward compatibility. Hey, I'm stocking all these different sensors for security. I have all these peripherals. We wanted to make sure that there was a very streamlined transition in regards to that. I'm glad you brought up the wiring. So some people may not notice, and maybe that's a good thing, but what I do want to call out is when we were talking about wiring for these systems, again, I'm going to keep coming back to that for installer, by installer mentality. We wanted to look at all these different things that just didn't align with what we wanted for the products when it came to wiring. We have some inconsistencies where maybe some wires were too short. They made it challenging to run them in the vehicle. Maybe they were too long and people were bundling them up, or there was a lot of scrap or waste involved. So we made a lot of changes to wiring length and the way that wires could potentially route during an install to make those installs more efficient, cleaner, and so forth. So yeah, a lot of changes there, but nothing that's going to negatively impact the installer experience.
Now, I know what you're thinking. Ben, ask him the questions about the remotes. I'm getting there, don't you worry. But I do have another question. While Chris was mentioning about wiring, what about other peripherals, like antennas, for example? What change can we expect there?
Yeah, so antennas, obviously a very big change to talk about. We are not using a same antenna that we were using in any of our previous generation products with this new Viper line. Every single antenna has been redesigned, from the keyless entry, security, remote start and security combo kits, even into our digital RF kits. These are all new redesigned antennas. And we actually do have one at the top of the line for a long range, heavy duty kit that we're making for the digital antenna and RF kit. That antenna is actually pretty cool, but I'm not going to dive too deep into that. I'm going to let that be a teaser.
Hey, listen, Chris, anything I can get out of you today, I'm sure our audience will appreciate. Now, let's get to the good stuff. When I say good stuff, well, let's talk about remote controls. This is where the customers, like you said, this is their interface. This is where they are touchy-feely with the system that they're paying for. So, two-part question. Number one, what can we expect as far as maybe some new remote controls? As well as, how about the process of pairing the remote? Is there any change to that process?
Yeah, common theme, as you'll see, everything being a complete redesign. The remotes are simply a big portion of that. Every single remote that we're using is brand new to this lineup. The remotes are very modernized. They're very sleek looking. We put a lot of attention into making sure that this is a remote. We want it to have that Viper look and feel, but we also want to make sure it really fits, on a modern keychain. Smart key vehicles, they have a lot of fancy keys coming from the manufacturer. We wanted to make sure that Viper remote really could sit on that key ring and look like a modern piece of equipment on that key ring. And when it comes to pairing, absolutely, we made some changes there. I think it's pretty well known from our installers that part of the security of our transmitters, safety is always our number one goal when it comes to remote start and security. We want to make sure that encryption between that remote and that control module is very secure. That obviously has not changed, but one of the things we did do in the process of say, hey, how can we retain all of that security and that relationship from the module to the remote, but also make it much, much easier on the installer. So some pretty significant changes there to make the installer process much, much easier.
Now, one thing you keep reiterating, Chris, is how important it is that these products are for installers by installers. Now, how does that now translate into some of the more mundane stuff? For example, the quick reference guides or the owner's manuals or even the install guide for that matter.
Yeah, so I'll touch on the quick reference guides first. Quick reference guides are something that our installers have really, really become accustomed to, right? They can break it out of the box. They don't need a 50-page manual to sort through to get through the basic functionality and installation of the product. And we did completely redesign these. Every one of the Viper analog kits, whether it's keyless security, remote start and security, every one of those products is going to come with a quick reference guide in it that's been completely redone for these products. We did make a big change to our full manuals, our owner's guides, and our install guides. We decided to move to online guides. So each box will have a owner's card that'll kind of give some of that basic information for reference that they can keep with them. And then also a QR code that they'll scan, and it'll bring them to a full guide. And that same thing can be said too on that quick reference guide. There's a QR for the full install guides. The main reason that we wanted to do that was when we had released previous products, as the product evolved and changed, we would obviously need to make sure that we're constantly trying to keep the guides up to date and what's coming in the boxes. When we would make a change to the product or on the fly, sometimes the lagging of the information of what was in the guides would be a disservice to the installer or to the end user, and we wanted to make sure that we could bridge that gap. So in this new environment with our guides, we're able to make all those real-time changes to make sure that they always have that most up-to-date information for that system.
Now, I know if you're paying attention, you'll notice Chris hasn't shown us a single product yet, but for good reason, Chris. Obviously, some exciting events coming down the pipe here in the next few weeks, short weeks, in fact. Where can dealers finally get to see, touch, and play with some of this new product and maybe get to ask some more deeper questions about these new systems that you're introducing?
Yeah, so this is a really good time and a really good segue into that. We're actually heading out this week to head to MasterTech, so we hope to see everybody there. Come to our booth, check it out. We will have all this new Viper product on display to look at. And then, of course, we do have some product trainings for our other categories at MasterTech as well. And then, obviously, we're very excited for the CMA Expo next month, where we're going to have even more of that Viper product to show. And we're going to go into some pretty deep product trainings on the new Viper remotes, specifically the new Viper colored LCD remote that adds a whole bunch of new fun stuff to our product line that we're, again, super excited about. So we're really, really excited to be there and to see everybody.
Oh, there you have it. If you're headed to MasterTech Expo this weekend or CMA Expo in Toronto in a few weeks, make sure you head by the Vox Electronics booth, have a chat with Chris, and get to know this brand new family of products coming to you from Viper. Chris, last question for you. When can people expect for these new products to be available, and where should they go to get more info?
Yeah, Ben. So the good news is when you're talking about new product lines, I think most of the time it's always, hey, these products are coming on the horizon. The good news is almost all of the products for the Viper line have already been released. There are still a few key pieces that will be released between now and into early next year. However, the vast majority of them are already available, and they can see all those products at viper.com.
Hi, Paul Truman here with SiriusXM. We reached out to some of our partners in the industry, and here's what they had to say.
I can't say more or enough about just what it means to have our unit working with SiriusXM. It's like we're there now.
The SiriusXM service is something consumers want, right? So it's Paul.
That allows a consumer to listen to either podcasts, entertainment, sports, all at their fingertips. It's all about engagement, and that's what SiriusXM provides.
SiriusXM is a huge component in a vehicle nowadays. Consumers expect that technology to be available both in our OEM system as well as the aftermarket upgrades that they're applying to their vehicle.
Alpine and SiriusXM, through our electronics, are able to offer the consumer on the aftermarket side SiriusXM 360L, which is an expanded platform for SiriusXM. And it's really been a beneficial relationship for us with SiriusXM.
As a dealer, just remember, we don't compete with anybody else. We are absolutely one of the best profitability accessories you can add to any head unit that is SiriusXM ready.
Now, if you're into marine audio, then obviously Wet Sounds is a household name, and who doesn't love the signature sound of their Rev Tower speakers? Well, guess what? The folks at Wet Sounds are at it again, because this time they've kind of refreshed their legendary Rev Tower speakers with some new options. We go now to Savannah over at Wet Sounds to kind of give us the details. How's it going, Savannah? What is this new announcement coming from the Wet Sounds camp?
Hey Ben, yes, today we're talking about the new Rev SE Special Edition Tower speakers. It's the same Rev sound that you get from Wet Sounds that you know and love, but with a now sleek new matte finish.
All right, pretty exciting stuff, Savannah. All right, let's get down to the nitty gritty and talk about the different features that these new special edition Rev Tower speakers have to offer. I guess let's start with what is the offering as far as size is concerned, because obviously different size for different applications. So what is available now for the new SE series?
You can choose between a Rev 8 or a Rev 10 for whatever installation you may need, but now in a sleek, bold new look. As for sound quality, these speakers project crystal clear sound over long distances without any distortion.
Now, Savannah, on the topic of sound, obviously the environment of which these Rev speakers are being installed, high-level frequencies are obviously going to be very important. So I want to remind our listeners exactly the technology and the type of drivers that Wet Sounds is using to be able to project that sound in such a brilliant way.
These towers have a titanium compression driver with a Kevlar reinforced cone to provide maximum performance.
Well, as I expected, some high technology incorporated into these speakers. a titanium diaphragm compression driver that's going to give you tons of high frequency output, and a Kevlar reinforced cone to handle all the power you need with rigidity and that wet sound signature sound, as we've been talking about from the beginning. All right, so we're talking about these new SE versions of the Rev Tower speakers. Let's talk about the installation side, because obviously that's really important as well, Savannah. So how do these drivers, or how do these horn tower speakers work as far as installation is concerned?
So these tower speakers are designed to mount just like our standard Rev Tower speakers, along with the Wet Sounds clamps, mounts, and tower adapters for a seamless installation.
All right, so what have we learned so far? Wet Sounds coming to the table with, of course, their legendary Rev speakers, but now available in an SE configuration with a sleek matte finish, both in 8 and 10-inch models, using their legendary technology and titanium compression drivers, as well as a Kevlar reinforced cone. And of course, you can use all the clamps and hardware to have them installed. So I guess the last question I have for you, Savannah, is when are these available and where should people go to get more information?
Look, Ben, at the end of the day, we really want to provide our customers with that same legendary Rev sound, but with a sleek new look. That's why they're special edition. And you can find them on wetsounds.com or through a Wet Sounds authorized dealer. And guess what? They're available now.
CE Outlook is dedicated to keeping the car audio and electronics industry informed on the latest issues, trends, and product releases. New feature stories posted daily. Visit ceoutlook.com for the latest industry news. You know, one of the brands in car audio that have a devout following is, of course, Hifonics, brought to you by the team over at Maxonics. And they've been real busy in the last year or so developing new product. Well, today we've got another outstanding announcement for you, this time by way of a brand new shallow subwoofer series. We go now to their director of operations, Mr. Rob Anderson. Rob, again, welcome to CMA Live. The announcement today is pretty exciting because not only do these woofers look great, they also come in with some great performance and a very competitive price.
Thanks, Ben. We're excited because we're talking about some brand new subwoofers and a lot of exciting things that are happening here at Hifonics.
All right, Rob, we're talking Hifonics, so let's get into it. We're talking shallow subwoofers. What is the product offering we're talking about today?
We're talking about our brand new Hifonics Elite Shallow subwoofers. These are available in 8, 10, and 12-inch, and they're packed with amazing technology.
First of all, might I say that those are very aesthetically appealing. I love the color. I love the whole way that looks. But you mentioned technology, so let's first talk about some of the physical aspects of these new woofers. You mentioned that they're available in 8, 10, and 12. Let's talk about the physical attributes. Let's show us around, maybe look at the cast basket and a couple of the other key features.
Well, yeah, let's get into it. Obviously, it looks great. Let's get into the physical attributes here. But first, we're going to start here with the woven fiber cone. Obviously, a stunning blue finish, a pressure-treated UV-resistant surround, and then this really trick kind of rubber gasket there. So giving it a nice, from the front, when it's installed, this thing looks great, and it has impact just from the looks and aesthetic and design of it. But let's get down to the motor here. Obviously, we have this really trick powder-coated blue frame for the motor, a blue and pressure-treated fiber spider with push-pin terminals, and a nice powder-coated rear basket there, frame. So nice structural rigidity, and this thing looks great, and it performs great as well.
Now, at the top of this conversation, I mentioned performance. So let's get into some of the numbers here, because obviously, if people are in the market for a shallow subwoofer, it's probably because there are some size or space restraints when it comes to the install. These are, in fact, shallow subwoofers. So I'm expecting some pretty decent numbers when it comes to not only power and handling, but also the enclosure sizes required.
Absolutely, Ben. So obviously, we live in a modern age, so we know that space is a premium. As these cars become more efficient, that means that space is totally at a premium. So obviously, we have models that are going to get high performance out of every size and application. Our 8-inch is a 250 watt RMS to a 500 watt max. Our 10 and 12-inch models, this is the 12-inch in my hand here, go through 300 RMS to 600 watts max. And the nice thing here too is that all the models have a shallow design, right? So from the 8-inch, we are looking at a almost like 2 3/4 inch depth, where here with the 10 and the 12, we have just a little bit over 3 3/4 inch. So amazing kind of applications that we can put this in just from the physical sizing. So mounting depths, easy. Going into a quarter panel, taking up a spare tire compartment. But then let's talk about how efficient these woofers are with the airspace required for those enclosures. For sealed enclosures, for the 8-inch model, it is a half cubic foot of box, where the 10 and the 12 is just under 3/4 cubic foot box design. So, I mean, really efficient woofers that get the most out of the airspace that we could kind of give out of this efficient design. And so that way we could have amazing bass performance in a tight enclosure so that we could use it for ultimately any application.
So if you're just tuning in, we're talking about a brand new product here announcing from Hifonics. It's called the Elite Shallow Subwoofer Series, 8-inch, 10-inch, 12-inch respectively. One thing that, Rob, you didn't mention, I do want to mention here, these drivers are all available in dual 4-ohm configuration, so that gives you lots of different options there. Enclosure size is very impressive at an 8-inch at, half a cubic foot, and the 10 and 12 only needing 3/4 of a cubic foot. Like you said, Rob, lots of applications here. I guess the only question left is, how much are these going for? Because at the top, we said these are going to be very attractive from a price point perspective. And lastly, when are they available?
That's right, Ben. So exactly like you said. So all the models are dual 4-ohm design, available in 8, 10, 12. And the amazing part here is that the 8 is just under $100 US MSRP. The 12 is around $150 MSRP US, and these things are available now. If you want to find out more information about the Hifonics Elite Shallows line subwoofers, head to hifonics.com. Follow us on all the social media, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and learn more about these things. We can't wait to see them in your installs and your rides.
There's an incredibly strong network of distributors across Canada, and today we're here at CMA Expo to speak with them and get a sense of how they feel about their partnership with SiriusXM.
SiriusXM helps connect our industry because we are reproducing music. We are delivering content in a different way. We deliver hard parts to consumer. They deliver us the content on those hard parts.
It's a great add-on for the head unit sale, and it's pretty much just a natural addition now to offer it to the customer after they purchase a new head unit for their car.
As a distributor of SiriusXM, we all benefit. As partners, they offer and bring to the table the love of music. We're all in this industry because ultimately we love music.
They've been a great partner, and they've actually created a lot of excitement again in the industry.
It really brings the whole industry together, and it's music-based. It's great. You know, that's what we do. We sell music. They provide content that's fabulous.
When it comes to a line such as Cerwin Vega, which is so iconic, not only in its performance, but also in its aesthetics, it's a tall order to have to recreate such a standard within the car audio space. Well, luckily, the team at Cerwin Vega hired the man for the job, and we have him on our show today. Of course, we're talking about their product development manager, Mr. John Catalano. John, welcome to the show. Today, we're talking about the rebirth of a legend when it comes to Cerwin Vega. And of course, we're talking about the new and improved Vega series. What can you tell us?
Well, Ben, first, thanks for having me. We're very excited about this new Vega series of products. It is our namesake. It has a very long lineage. What's great about the Vega series in the past is it's like right in the middle. It's not the super high-end esoteric type product, but it's also not the entry level. It's right in the meat and potatoes area of the line. It's the one that everybody has recognized for many, many years. So when I came in, we had to look at what do we do to improve this. So we had another series that was above it called VMAX, and I decided that we're going to kill VMAX and we're going to make Vega as good as that at the price point that Vega is now. So we've really improved the performance of these drivers. So it could take over into the ground pounder scene as well as the audiophile guys. It's a very great middle of the road for that, but with lots of power handling as well.
Now, John, we were spoiled earlier on in the season when we are talking car audio. You did provide a little bit of a sneak peek into some early prototypes for the new Vega line, but I think today we're going to be treated to pretty much a production model here. Of course, we're talking about the launch or the rebirth of a brand new series in the Vega lineup. Now, something to note, this is a complete lineup, guys. This is your bread and butter, the stuff that you'll be installing every day. A complete line of full range speakers as well as subwoofers into the mix. Now, we're going to show it all to you. We're going to start right here with the full range speakers. John, what can you tell us?
So basically what we've done is we took a step back and we started from scratch. We didn't take anything from the previous line. We looked at what our goals were with this. It's a combination of great sound quality. You have to have that Vega style bass, even in a 6x9 or something like that. So we had to make sure that the sound was right and the performance was there. So these drivers, they all feature a nice soft dome tweeter, so you get a nice clean roll off. The highs are nice and smooth. We use a carbon it's a hybrid cone, so it's carbon fiber and poly cone, so it makes it a nice stiff cone, which gives it that great bass response that I was talking about, and also makes it nice and efficient. And then our trademark red surround, and this is a Santopine surround, so that's going to last a long time in the very bad vehicle environment. We even got our red spider there. You got crossover built in, all the things you need. And the great thing about this series is it covers everything. We go all the way down to a 2.5 inch driver that fits all the newer vehicles with the adapter plate included. We even go all the way to an 8-inch pair of components. And there's also 3-way components. So you could do a 6x9, a 2.5, and a tweeter, or 6.5, a 2.5, and a tweeter. And then also in the 6x9 coax and the 6.5 coax, we also offer 2-ohm versions. So I think we've really covered just about every possible scenario that you would want for these kind of speakers, because it is that everyday install speaker. It's a great price point, great performance.
Well, first off, John, I got to commend you on the aesthetics of those drivers. Those look absolutely stunning with the woven cone, and everything about it just looks absolute class. I do have some questions for you. For those fans that are used to and have fell in love with that signature kind of Vega sound, how would you describe the sound signature of these new drivers with all the new improvements that you've made?
The easiest way to describe it is it's punchy. It's very clean attack and decay. That's that Vega sound. I mean, they're known for bass. The founder of Cerwin Vega is known as the master of bass. I mean, we have to make sure that is first and foremost, and then adding that sound quality element to it as an aside.
Also to note, I really want to make sure everybody heard, also available in 2-ohm version. So, I mean, this is going to be a line that's going to be very versatile to have in stock to be able to put into every situation, especially with the different sizes that John had just mentioned. All right, if you're just tuning in, we're talking about Cerwin Vega's revamped line of Vega drivers. We talked about the full range real quick. Let's take a closer look at the new subwoofers.
So just as an example, this is the previous generation Vega driver. And it's a very good driver. It has very good sound quality. It has good output, but it is nothing compared to the new ones. We've increased the motor significantly. It's got very venting here. You got our quick impedance switch here, so you only have to make one connection. So they're coming dual 4 or dual 2 ohm applications. So pretty much any setup that you want to do, you can run it. Like this one will run 4 ohms or 1 ohm, and the other driver would run 8 ohms or 2 ohms. So depending on what you need it to do. Again, the cone is a hybrid cone, so you got carbon fiber sandwiched with a polypropylene cone in the back, so it makes it very, very rigid, but at the same time very light. That increases the output and increases the sensitivity. You got multiple venting points. So the very vents here, we got side venting here. It's got a large copper voice coil, so that allows that driver to handle a lot of power. And then we do something unique, or at least I do something unique, is I rate my drivers at mechanical and thermal power ratings. So somebody could put a very large voice coil in something and rate it at X amount of watts, but you put it in a box and you run that amount of power to it and the motor can't handle it. It's breaking up, it's cracking, it's making all kinds of odd noises, or you end up breaking the driver. My drivers are rated at RMS power with mechanical and thermal. So when we say this driver does 1600 watts RMS, it does 1600 watts RMS playing music in an enclosure in the application that you plan on using it in. It's not some made up thermal number that you can put whatever you want on the driver. So we spent a lot of time taking these drivers and we compare them to our own drivers and then also all of our competition, which not going to throw the gauntlet down, but most of our competition does not handle mechanical based on their numbers. It only is a thermal rating. Again, this driver, we spent a lot of time on the mechanics. I actually spent 1.5 years just doing these drivers. Normally it doesn't take that long, but we really had to take a quick, not a quick look, but a very deep dive into what we wanted this driver to be. You know, the cast basket to the motor size, to the spiders, to the woven tinsel leads, to the different cone materials. You can see there's even ridges on the back side to add strength to the cone where we found that it might have a deficiency. So all of these things combined together, stitched surround, so you don't have a failure because of the surround pulling away from the cone, because this has high excursion. So all of these things go into making this driver a performer, and again, it's hitting way out of its weight class as far as performance, considering the price point that these are at. We're very excited about how these are going to be in the field.
Well, there you have it, guys. A quick look at the brand new revamped line of drivers and subwoofers coming to you from Cerwin Vega, known as the Vega Series. Great job, John, on the redesign. I can't believe how many hours you must have put into it. But you know what? Proof is in the pudding. All right, 2 quick questions to wrap this up. When can people expect to have availability of the set of drivers? And where should people go to get more information and specs?
All right, well, the Vega speakers are available now. The subwoofers will be available at the end of the month or the first week or so of April. They're in production right now. We should be getting them shortly. If you want more information, please click the links below, and you can get the information on all the speakers that we offer and the subwoofers, and you can get all your specifications and things like that. And I appreciate you watching our video.
And that's a wrap on this edition of CMA Live, presented by SiriusXM and sponsored by 5-Axis Innovations. Make sure to check out all our videos at cmanetworks.com. I'm your host, Ben Wu. We'll see you next Saturday.
There's never been a better time to have SiriusXM with over 150 channels in your vehicle. Your Platinum Plan offer includes more than ever before to enjoy online, on your phone, or at home. Create your own ad-free personalized stations powered by Pandora. Hear ad-free extra channels and enjoy favorite shows with SiriusXM Video on Demand. What you love is on now.